Have you ever felt that you're getting overwhelmed by all of the dramatic events happening in the world every single day? Or maybe you believe that modern times have become the most unstable and difficult times to live in. Or you have a multicultural work environment and you get annoyed that there is a tremendous gap of understanding between you and your colleagues. If so, watch our video to find out how to become happier and stay curious. My name is Weronika and welcome to our new YouTube series where we explore the Investors Podcast's favorite books. The Investors Podcast is all about investing, where you can find all kinds of guidelines and ideas on how to grow financially and personally. If you want to follow our channel and don't want to miss out on our videos, hit the subscribe button below. If you're interested in investing, look at our links in the description below to learn more. Let's get started! The book Factfulness is one of the books of all time. In my opinion, a must-read. But most importantly, it is a very thoroughly researched book. Factfulness was written by Rosling, a medical doctor, a professor of international health, a renowned public educator, and a World Health Organization and UNICEF advisor. To give you an overview of his research, the book starts with a short quiz, including 13 random questions, testing the reader's common knowledge of global trends. The quiz brings up different areas of common knowledge, such as women's education, death from natural disasters, access to vaccinations for 1-year-olds, and climate change. Shockingly, the answers we choose tend to be even worse than a chimpanzee choosing answers at random, which, funny enough, would outperform journalists, Nobel Prize winners, and investment bankers with its score. Rosling's quiz, packed with data, proves to us that we usually assume the worst-case scenario, and we are totally clueless about the ongoing global situation. So, what is the truth? Or can we even say that there is one truth? Are we so ignorant about the situation in the world? Or maybe the situation is different everywhere? Let me share with you Rosling's perspective, followed by my 5 takeaways, and then we'll get to the bottom of our misconception by learning 5 of his tools to stop feeling overwhelmed, stop lacking common knowledge, and stop being ignorant. The book delivers factual analysis based on available statistical data, interlacing it with personal anecdotes from across the globe when Rosling was traveling professionally as a doctor and educator. But most importantly, it gives you the tools to improve your life by controlling your instincts. The author states that the world we live in has progressed tremendously within the last 100 years. And the more you read the book, the more you realize that he has a point. I think in order for us to become open-minded, curious about other people, as well as track the direction we take as humanity, it is crucial to look in the mirror and understand what causes our fear, ignorance, gaps in our knowledge, or eagerness to blame someone for everything negative. First of all, essentially, we as humans don't acknowledge that the reality of our time is actually relatively better and offers more to life than ever before in the past of humanity. This means that the misconception of our awareness, the ability to read data, filter daily news reports, and also interact with different cultures is tremendous. And we act as if we don't care about anyone or anything outside our circle. Number 2 is that we seem ignorant in terms of every kind of deviation from what we already know, so we pick on differences rather than picking up on similarities. We are splitting people into us and them, even though most people worldwide live in a similar way to each other. This includes life conditions and socioeconomic status. Number 3 is that the world has changed and has been moving in a positive direction throughout the years. Living conditions, world income distribution, access to public health, women's education, and electricity have improved globally. Due to technological and scientific milestones, we have progressed enormously. However, we act like we didn't know we could even compare our level of development, world income distribution, or education to the level of access available back in the day. The takeaway number 4 is the most meaningful to me. At some point, it gets so common to hear, whether from public figures or in a private conversation, that there are only poor and rich people. Regardless of their nationality, culture, or town they represent, we tend to divide people into such groups because of our assumptions, ignorance, or outdated data regarding how they actually live. Having said that, Rosling introduces us to 4 levels of worldwide income, proving that there are more options to relate to than rich and poor. What is crucial to acknowledge is that if you're watching this video or reading Rosling's book, you probably live on level 4, meaning that you have access to electricity, education, and the internet. When you live on level 4, it is natural that everyone living on a lower income level seems equally poor. Being poor has different meanings because what you think of as extreme poverty can be, as Rosling said, relative poverty. To give you an idea of how to illustrate this, imagine that you're looking down from the top of a skyscraper. It is difficult to assess the differences in the height of the buildings closer to the ground. They all look small. It is typical for people living on level 4 to divide the world into us rich and them poor. You can see someone as poor even if this person lives on level 4 or 3 but does not drive a car and uses a bicycle instead. You may think that this person is extremely poor, but extremely poor in level 1 country would mean walking 15 miles barefoot without a flashlight and watching out for snakes to get to a doctor. My last but not least takeaway is that Rosling has identified and described precisely what causes the obstacles we encounter in understanding the world and each other accurately. There are specific instincts that take control of our ability to think clearly, and they are the reason for our world perspective to be skewed to an extent that we misunderstand things constantly. Having said that, I would love to share 5 of Rosling's 10 instincts and tools on how to control them, so we stay calm and curious about the world rather than remain ignorant. The first one is the gap instinct. It is a very strong instinct toward binary thinking of dividing things into distinct groups with nothing but an empty gap in between. This is why we divide things into good or bad, or my country versus the rest of the world, as if there were only those 2 completely opposite options available. How to control this? Understand that we should look for the majority rather than extremes, because the majority is in the middle and the gap is probably not even there. The second one is the fear instinct. We all have a tool called attention filter, which unfortunately notices information that triggers our fear instinct to kick in. Today, we see news that focuses on reporting dramatic events, which are supposed to play on our emotions. Good news that millions of people experience every single day is not being reported, because no one would find it interesting to watch. Unfortunately, this leads to prejudice that the world we live in is a terrible, scary place full of overwhelming events we can't control. Back in the day, our fear helped us survive, but today it is pointless to be scared of a wild animal attacking and killing you when walking down the street, unless you live on the first level of income. So, what can we do about this? We need to establish whether the fear comes from exposure to a real danger or if it's rather caused by a dramatic news report. realize that it is thanks to technology development we get a chance to hear about these reports. In the past, there were more deaths caused by natural disasters or plane crashes deaths, but we did not hear about them. Today, there are fewer of them, which means the situation is better than before. Back in the 1930s, flying was quite dangerous, since there were 2,100 annual deaths on 5-year averages. While today it is 1 death on average per 10 billion passenger miles by commercial airlines. This means that flying has gotten 2,100 times safer than 90 years ago. To put it into perspective, the good news about thousands of airplanes landing every day is no news, but one tragic incident that is spread worldwide, causing us nothing but fear, which in the end could bring us the least harm. The next one is the generalization instinct. It is common to make assumptions based on single numbers taken out of context. It is also common to generalize different nationalities, which leads to stereotypes. How to control this? The majority in this context can be misleading, because it can both mean 51% as well as 99%, which is a tremendous difference when making a conclusion. Generalizing that people from different countries live in different ways, have different needs, expectations, or standards of life is also wrong and makes us jump to conclusions. Another one is the blame instinct. We tend to look for someone or something to blame, which leads us to a distorted perspective of reality. We often place blame to confirm and stand by what we already believe in. We like to cling to our perspectives and opinions, looking for examples to prove them, even if we're wrong. So what can we do about this? Instead of blaming everyone around us, we should be ready to take ownership of our mistakes. Finally, the urgency instinct. When we receive a message to make a decision now, because it's now or never, we are under sudden pressure. Being under stress doesn't make us think clearly. When we make decisions rapidly, they might be unreasonable. So how to change it? As Rosling suggested, take a deep breath and cool down a bit. If it isn't a life-threatening event, you probably don't have to make a decision right away. To wrap up, I hope that this information helps you understand the challenges you might experience and allows you to use these tools to have a better quality of life, experience everything around you, and interact with other people. Personally, I struggle with the urgency instinct, very often feeling pressured to decide something right away, or otherwise my mind freaks out. Do you recognize any of these instincts kicking in your daily life? If yes, leave a comment and let me know what your major struggles are. I can assure you, most of us struggle with our perception without even knowing. Now you'll know, and you'll be able to do something about it, to put your mind at ease. I recommend everyone read this book, regardless of education, nationality, or religion. Every person can relate and find plenty of useful and factful information about how to understand the world around us. I have definitely developed a more humble and curious approach to other people, especially representing different cultures and nationalities than mine. I've realized how much I still don't know, how much information I don't fact-check, which influences how I make assumptions. The book is an absolute must-read when living abroad or working in a multicultural environment. And remember, the world is not fine, but it is definitely better. This is the Investors Podcast. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to see more videos like this or share what reviews you'd like to see next, let me know in the comments.